Good morning. Scrambling here this morning to get everything lined up, ready to go. Um, I'm still not used to all the changes that I've made on my computers. I am making progress with the one that crashed on Sunday and reorganizing some of the file structure and actually getting some of the programs reloaded even without having my new DVD CD ROM uh, drive. I mean, the other one doesn't read the discs that are put into it, so I ordered another one, and it was shipped yesterday, so it should be arriving, if not today, tomorrow. I'm thinking. Anyway, again, good morning. The title that I've selected for this morning's talk is 2012, The Assembly of Visionaries at Work. The Monday night call for officials in the Republic had an interesting segment about ecclesiastical courts that focused on the meaning of the word ecclesia. It comes from two Greek words, ek, which means out, and clesia, which means assembly. From my early days in the church, I remembered that since the church was referred to as the called out ones. While the English Bible translates the word as church, a more correct translation would simply say assembly. We are that assembly of visionaries called out to change the world. I'm sure my friend Aristos from Greece will comment on that. Maybe I didn't pronounce the words exactly right. But he is Greek, and he will know the meaning of ecclesia from the Greek perspective, although I don't know if modern Greek and biblical Greek are exactly the same. I'm sure there are still many similarities. Another thing that caught my eye this morning on my Facebook page is someone sent an article, or actually a video, a YouTube video, entitled I Am Fishhead. Are corporate leaders egotistical psychopaths? I didn't watch the video. It's almost 2 hours long. I don't know if I'll get to it today with all the work that I'm doing on the computer, but maybe I'll make at least a stab of it. And if it's mostly audio, I can listen to what they're saying, even without seeing the images, which I prefer, by the way. But I thought when I saw that on Facebook, I thought that goes along with what today's talk is, because what we're talking about is who has been running the world and who is moving into that position of shifting the world to running it for the benefit of everyone. And I would give a resounding yes to the question posed in that video. Are corporate leaders egotistical psychopaths? By far and large, yes. But there's an element of change that is occurring in the world as the visionaries, that's us, folks, that's you and me, and those of us that see and long for a new world, and we're doing whatever we know to do, whatever our part is, we're doing what we need to do to help inform people of what the old world is about, and to bring in the vision of how the new world can operate and meet the needs of everyone. I have indicated numerous times that I am the Secretary of State in the Florida Free State, which is part of the Republic for the United States of America, reseated, reinstituted, ready to take control. Ready to stand side by side with the current government and working and to provide people alternatives that will bring justice, alternatives that will bring greater opportunities for acquiring true wealth. And true wealth is not always measured in money. We've used money as the measuring stick. But really, the true wealth is the ability to create and to share our creations with others to the benefit of all. It benefits us and it benefits those that receive our creation. This is the vision of cooperation and a unified cooperation. Cooperation is based on unity. It's not based on the old model of competition, the old paradigm, the egotistical psychopathic paradigm of as long as I get mine, the hell with everybody else. Well, that type of competition is becoming obsolete as we hold the vision and the intent for the new world, for grounding, boy, oh boy, that is really moving, for grounding the energy of the kingdom of heaven, if you will, on earth. And the kingdom of heaven, again, is this ecclesia. It's the called out ones that are establishing this, the ones that have the Buddhic nature and the Christ consciousness to see beyond the criminal society that we have built up around us because of the egotistical psychopaths in charge that run the corporations that pose as governments, that run the banks, which are corporations, that run the monarchy, that is a corporation, that run the church, which is a corporation. Corporate leaders are egotistical monsters. It is the beast that has fed its poison to the world and poisoned every aspect of our human culture and our human society. But because there are visionaries, because there are people called out to hold a new vision, call them the light workers, call them whatever name you want to give to ourselves, we are the ones that are bringing something to the world for the benefit of everyone in the world, with the exception, and ultimately it's for their benefit too, but initially it will not be for the benefit of those egotistical psychopaths that have been in charge. The powers that have been are not the powers that are going to be. And we're changing that this year in 2012 as the Assembly of Visionaries comes together and works. And we're coming together online. We're coming together in the ethers, if you will. The ethers of the internet, the ethers of electronic connection. We are the called out ones that are holding in place and creating the vision of a cooperative world based on, as Benjamin Fulford likes to say, mediocrity, or not mediocrity, that's the wrong word. Meritocracy, that's the right word. Meritocracy. It's based on actual merit, whereas the corporations and the political structures have been handed down to people within the elite group, even if they're not very intelligent, even if they're not very productive. And let's face it, folks, the banks produce nothing for us. They only play with numbers and produce for themselves. And that's what the corporation has brought us. It's brought us a system of corruption and fraud because it's based on plastic smiles. It's based on a persona of, we are the philanthropists. We provide funds for the world. Yeah, like the Bill Gates Foundation providing funds, and as Benjamin Fulford says, going to Africa and at gunpoint forcing people to immunize their daughters so that they would become sterilized. My God, that's real philanthropy, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. The corporate leaders are egotistical psychopaths. But we have a new vision that will ultimately provide an opportunity, at the very least, for these egotistical psychopaths to be rehabilitated and hopefully come into society where they truly can serve humanity and be cooperative with those of us that have a better vision, a better opportunity for the world to actually produce something that works instead of something that destroys. I don't know exactly what everything is going to look like as it unfolds, and neither does anybody else. I'm part of the Republic because it is an organization of people, an organism is more correct, of people that in many respects have widely scattered viewpoints. As the definition or the paper that was being read on Monday night's call about the ecclesia or the ecclesiastical courts, it was interesting because a technical difficulty had appeared at the very point in time that it began to discuss the difference between religious and spiritual. And I would have loved to hear that part, but it went out for about 2 minutes. The audio was just cut off, and the person that was reading it lost contact with the conference call. And I would love to hear the rest of that, because that is such an important thing. Religion relates to the corporation, the egotistical psychopaths. It binds us. That's what religio comes from, the Latin word, which means to bind, to tie up. And it's not bind as in binding a wound. It's binding as in capturing and holding enslaved a population. That's what religion does. That's how it has been used in our culture for centuries, at least in the Western world, since the councils of Nicaea in the 4th century AD, the 300s under Constantine, when he decided to make Christianity the empire's religion. And the Republic had already fallen, and it was an empire, but it was an empire in decay. And they carried on the empire through the Roman Church, through the Vatican. And it was corrupt from its beginnings. If you study Vatican history, that's not putting down Catholics. I'm a Catholic. Catholic simply means universal. And that's part of the visionary aspect. We are recognizing that all visionaries are Catholic. And it has nothing to do with a religion. All the ones that are called out into this assembly of visionaries are people of the heart, are people that are willing to be, as we talked about yesterday, authentic and tell the truth. What a concept. What a drastic change from the world as we've known it, where if a politician is moving his lips, you know one thing that's almost for certain. He's lying or she's lying. It's inevitable because that's the dialect, that's the paradigm that they've been operating under. On Hegel. I can't say the word. I could if I had it in front of me, but I don't. But that dialect that they speak out of both sides of their mouth. They tell the people what they want to hear, but it's not really what they're going to do because they have no intention of telling the truth. It's like they have their fingers crossed behind their back. Well, you don't have to tell the truth if your fingers are crossed behind your back. Yeah, right. Well, see, that kind of thinking, that psychopathic thinking, is being exposed. And because it's being exposed, it has to end. And that's what we're seeing happening. Now, I don't know if Benjamin Fulford's vision, I saw his video yesterday and I read his article that he put out on Monday. And I've seen David Wilcox and others that talk about their vision. I don't know which vision is the correct vision, but I do know this. We are in a time of change, and we are an assembly of visionaries working to make the world a better place. And I'm glad to be part of that. I'm glad to be part of the Republic. I know I'm going to be really, really busy when the funding and everything is actually released and we start getting paid to do a job of reestablishing a government in the United States that serves the people. Will it be permanent? I don't think that any government or any financial system needs to be permanent once we wake up and get out of our toddlerhood and adolescence as human beings and start growing up. But until that time, we need the temporary stopgap measures of government and of a financial structure where money is so abundant for everyone and where everyone's needs are abundantly met, because that's the way we've designed it to work, that ultimately we're going to say, hey, why do we need the money part? I mean, that's just temporary. And we're going to move there. Maybe not for a generation or two or three. I don't know how long it's going to take. But we're creating actual institutions, if you will. And institutions ultimately may not be needed. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to look like. But right now we need structure. And we're establishing structure. The visionaries I'm talking about, we. The people in the Republic. The people that aren't in the Republic yet, but are visionaries and part of the assembly that is creating alternatives to the corrupt, fraudulent system under which we've been operating. The tentacles of that beast have touched every one of us, and we're being liberated from that in 2012. Watch it, folks. See it. Give your energy there. It doesn't matter if you agree with every point of anybody's thing, because nobody's thing is going to happen exactly the way that they might describe it. Every one of us is doing the best we can to describe what we see, and what we see is creating what is to come, because it already is here in the etherical realm. In the invisible realm, it's already here, and it's ready to come into manifestation, and we're watching that happen. We have front row seats, as I said many times. We are watching and witnesses to the massive changes that are happening in the world. I leave you with these thoughts. Namaste.